Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show, and today I've got a very special focus because I'm committed to you living this year victoriously, and I know that it's a big stress year with political battles going on, but the Lord said something to me recently that I got to repeat. The Lord said, stop complaining about the way things are and recognize you're in the Super Bowl. Folks, this year, if you're like me, if you're a Christian in America, you're in the Super Bowl. And this is the angels or the saints in heaven all wish they could participate in planet Earth during the days that you're alive. You get to do something phenomenal. And part of that is making sure you could show up and do it. I had a year where I was just fatigued and I wasn't mentally sharp. I had brain fog, and I realized I've got to take care of my body or I will not be able to fulfill the convergence I talk about. And that was when Mercedes Sparks, who's over here on the wing woman desk, she said, we're going to do a health and wellness summit to kick off the year. I said, no, we do like Chuck Pierce, the others. We're going to do a prophetic summit. She goes, no, I think we need to do a health and wellness because the priority this year is showing up stronger, lasting longer, and being fully in the game. I said, you know what? That's what I'm praying about, maybe. So I went to my first summit. I hosted my first summit as a student. Normally, I'm teaching. This case, I didn't teach. I just wanted to hear. And one of our experts that was kind enough to agree to come, doesn't do these anymore, doesn't do a lot of them anyway, is Dr. Jordan Rubin. Now, of course, this guy's a best-selling author. Many of you are familiar with the Maker's Diet, with his research on biblical healing, his testimony personally about how doing nutritional intervention God's way by revelation actually has beaten back cancer. What I found from his testimony is it's happened with him more than once. So I became a student of Jordan Rubin and started taking his products and noticed an immediate difference. Can we bring Dr. Jordan Rubin on? Thank you. Hi, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Lance. Hello, Mercedes. Ready to drive into the sunset.
Ready to drive into the sunset. And you really knocked it out of the park at the summit because our summit was basically I didn't know this till we debriefed after the event. They were doctors. They were medical professionals. I guess when I'm doing 7 mountains, I got 7 different audiences. We brought in that group and they all loved what you had to say. For those that aren't familiar with you, those that are hearing the podcast will have lots of a big audience for this. Could you quickly give people the overview of your journey as to what led you to found Ancient Nutrition and what the backstory is?
Absolutely. I will try to do this as succinctly as possible. I was born into a naturopathic Jewish home. So think of it this way. I was born to a couple of hippie health nut parents who were Jewish and got saved when I was 2. And so no matter what stream we were in, I swam up the opposite way. So I was a Jew who believed in Jesus, and I believed in natural health when it was anything but popular. So I was really born into the health and wellness movement before it became pop culture. Despite having a relatively healthy upbringing, I was diagnosed with multiple illnesses as a teenager, including Crohn's disease, which has increased probably 50-fold since I was diagnosed 30 years ago. And arthritis, diabetes. I had 19 illnesses. I was bedridden in a wheelchair down to 104 pounds, and I'm 6 feet tall. And I had already come to know the Lord, had a relationship with him, and I was absolutely in the valley of the shadow of death. God gave me enough faith to ask my mom to take my photograph when I was at my worst because I didn't want anyone to miss out on the miracle that God was going to do in my life. And that one instant of faith, mustard seed size, if that, caused, I believe, a healing miracle in my body. Not immediately, but a year later, I met a man who taught me how to eat and live like the Bible says. He said I would be well. I believed him. And God healed me primarily in the span of 40 days. I would later write about that in the Maker's Diet, the 40-day health experience that will change your life forever. And I started a company called Garden of Life, later started farming growing and raising food, started a company called Ancient Nutrition with my protege and now business partner, Dr. Josh Axe, who Lance knows very well. And we've been blessed for the last 20 some years to share a message of health and hope that whatever the doctor calls incurable, but God. And I'm here to talk a little bit about what we can do to deal with what I would say is the next pandemic. Now, mind you, I have never heard obesity, metabolic issues, and the overweight problem called a pandemic until yesterday when a Harvard scientist turned at that. But I can't argue based on statistics. And there are proven ways for the average individual who is now overweight, by the way, the average individual who is at risk of many health problems in body and brain to get on the right track and be healthy utilizing foods and ingredients that God created. So today we're going to talk about metabolism. We're going to talk about losing weight the healthy way, losing fat, why it's important, and why a abundance of body fat and a bulging waistline can be far more damaging than just to your self-esteem.
Wow. And let me just say something that is important. The weight loss fad in America is typical of America. Ozempic, for instance, if you can get an injection, you could lose the weight. And the mischief there is I watched Tucker Carlson, and he just had this groundbreaking interview with a whistleblower who's talking about how he says, hey, you know how that works? It basically freezes up your digestive system, or like paralyzes it, so that slows down the processing of foods. And his point is, and it's kind of like, have you learned nothing about big pharma? What's the side effects or the long-term studies on that? And it's like, I freaked out when I heard that, because it's like, what? And so some people might be thinking, well, I take diet pills, or I'm going to do this, or I'm taking shots. But at the end of the day, it's actually learning how to eat and what to eat and how to balance it out. That is where your sustainable life is going to come from. It's not going to come from these other sources, the pharmaceutical companies. Am I oversimplifying this? Because I'm the student here.
Yeah, I think, Lance, it is a very good question to ask. Here's a striking statement. So the big food companies, and when I say big, I'm talking $100 billion annual food companies, including Nestle, had a major drop in their stock because the CEO of Walmart made this comment based on Ozempic, which is real. And there's Wegovy. Ozempic is a brand name of a pharmaceutical that helps to slow appetite by dealing with something called GLP-1, which I'm not going to go into details, but it basically reduces cravings and is designed to slow down your appetite, increase your feelings of satiety. The CEO of Walmart said, because of pharmaceuticals such as Ozempic, there's going to be less interest in junk food. And that day, Nestle's stock decreased, and I'm not a financial analyst, so I'm going to approximate somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 a share to 105, and has not rebounded from a statement by the largest retailer that junk food will not be craved the same way due to a drug that's being pushed by pharmaceutical companies. And let me go on record saying I'm not an expert in GLP-1 and the mechanisms of action behind Ozempic, Wegovy, and others that are soon to be here. What I can say is that all drugs have side effects, and I believe that there is a way to improve your health and live a life the way that God intended without a pharmaceutical. I'll give another example that I saw this week, which was amazing. Someone took a photograph of Times Square when it was busy, which is always, I guess, people walking through Times Square today, and a photo compared in the 1940s. And they actually looked at every person walking by for their appearance. And it was staggering how much lighter and less overweight the people were. So here's what I know. Our environment is causing us to be metabolically unstable, overweight, obese, blood sugar issues, diabetes, hypoglycemia, which leads to all kinds of other issues. And this was not the case as little as 50, 60, 80 years ago. And today I want to talk about why that is, what we can avoid, and most importantly, what we can consume so that we can be as healthy as we can for as long as God has us here to make an impact and, to use your analogy, Lance, to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jordan, you take it away from here. I'm not going to interrupt you. When you just set me up, I got my pen in my hand. The audience is ready. What do we need to know? Because I want sustainable diet tips that work, that I don't have to use an injection in order to accomplish.
I think that the key word there is diet, that it's really lifestyle. That I think that, like, for me, because I want to hear this too, that, it's like, all right, I think we all just get used to, like, well, I'm just carrying these extra 20 pounds around. I'm not what I was in high school or college, but I've had kids, la, la, la. But, like you're saying, beyond just self-esteem, like, I want to know, like, hey, why is it dangerous? And so anyways, I just throw out there, but because I think it comes down to lifestyle. I mean, I don't know, I'm going to let Jordan talk, but I'm over here thinking about big sugar and, like, how sugar's in everything, and you look at those changes in photos, and I'm wondering if that's it. So anyways.
Yeah, and one more thought, and what I didn't get on this boat, because Annabelle, my wife, when I would go shopping, I would shop, and I had no criteria for what I'm buying, really. I just buying stuff I want to eat. And she's grabbing every single thing and going down the list on the back of it, and it just freaked me out, because it's like such a bizarre experience. She's showing me all the things that are in. I said, well, what in the world am I going to eat? Steamed broccoli for the rest of my life? And so I pushed away from the idea, but you got me engaged again, my friend. I realized I need a different strategy, so take it away.
Well, I'm going to answer Mercedes' question in a moment, but first I want to borrow a line from my good friend, Dr. Chauncey Crandall, who, thanks to you two, he and I had a nice reunion at the Lance Wallnau Health Summit for several hours, and it's probably the most time I've spent with him consistently in a decade. So excited about that. He said something that really resonated with me and your audience. How do you know if you are metabolically unhealthy? And he said, if you weigh more than 15 pounds greater than you did when you were a senior in high school, you likely are metabolically unhealthy. Now, listen, there's a lot of caveats. What if you were overweight in high school? Or what if, there's the what ifs. But I have never heard it put that way. And I think that that's pretty interesting. Now, I am very blessed because I weigh the same or within 3 pounds of what I did as a senior in high school. But frankly, I was half that weight when I was sick. So I had a different issue than some people have. But that's a good way to gauge if you need to listen to the advice I'm about to share. But before I go on, to answer Mercedes' question, if you are overweight, more specifically over fat, particularly if your belly button and the measurement around it is greater than your age, I think it's your age, is it divided by 2? But you have issues. The most dangerous place to be overweight is your gut. The reason being is that the fat stored in your gut and around your organs is called visceral fat or white fat. It is difficult to burn, and it is indicative of risk of major illnesses and diseases such as cancer, heart disease, certainly diabetes, even brain issues like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, which has been called diabetes type 3. That also goes into side effects such as vision issues and eye health, kidney issues. Of course, those are symptoms of high blood sugar, diabetes, etc. This is not simply looking and feeling your best. If you have visceral adiposity, belly fat, as they call it, you are at greater risk of early death. And believe it or not, as much of an issue as belly fat is for men, it's even more of an issue for women because many women carry excess weight in their hips, thighs, etc. But if you're a woman and you carry weight that's excess around your waist, you definitely are at risk of multiple inflammatory conditions. You have high inflammation guaranteed if you're carrying belly fat. So this is not just about energy or looking your best or being at your 10th, 20th, 30th, or 40th high school reunion and looking better than your classmates. This is about longevity. It's about being there for your spouse, your kids, your grandkids. So hopefully that answers your question, Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
This is not simply what you look like in the mirror. It's not simply a, quote, thyroid issue. People blame their metabolism. The issue is we're not moving enough, and we've put ourselves in an unhealthy environment, primarily with diet.
That's so good.
All right. Well, talk to me about what do we do, Dr. Jordan Rubin? What do we got to do? Give me some.
All right. I'm going to give you quick hitting tips. Okay. So number one, when we think we're hungry, we may actually be thirsty. So here's a quick tip. Every time you want to eat, that's a snack or a meal, I recommend drinking 8 ounces of water. Oftentimes, as we age, we lose the ability to sense minor dehydration. If you will drink 8 ounces of water before you eat or before you attempt to eat, you either may not be hungry if you're just opening up the fridge for a snack, or at the very least, you will have your meal and, in my opinion, eat less. Okay, here's some other, these are very quick and important tips. I recommend the time of day that you eat be shortened. This has been deemed intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating. I would just call it the historical way that we have eaten for thousands of years. No one in history ate something at 6 a.m. and ate their final bite of food at 12 p.m.
Yeah.
That is very normal today. It is abnormal to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, and David, and Solomon, and everybody else. So my big suggestion is, because most of us don't wake up hungry in the morning anyway, delay your break fast, because that's what breakfast means.
Oh.
And start eating when you're truly hungry. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. That was developed by a cereal company that, by the way, was backed by poor theology that wanted men to be less like men and had some nefarious information and aspirations. That's for another podcast, but it'll be right up your alley, Lance. But back to what I was saying. Literally start the time when you have your first meal, start a timer, and I would challenge everybody. Eat within an 8-hour window. And even if you ate the same food, exactly in the same portions, you will lose weight and you will reduce inflammation. So here's an example. Lunch at noon, dinner at 6, done at 8. That's simple. You don't have to cancel business lunches. You don't have to be antisocial with your family. You can go out to eat. But first things first, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're truly hungry, and eat over an 8-hour window. And if you're going to ask me, what if I, quote, cheat? What if I'm at a place where there's only junk food? What if I'm at a party? What if I don't want to be rude and not have birthday cake? Personally, I have trained my body to be resilient and not need to eat 6 times a day. But here's a quick tip that you will love. If you're going to binge, eat junk, have a Super Bowl party, go to a birthday, eat anything you want within 1 hour. Literally, again, set your watch. The body's mechanism to increase blood sugar and therefore increase insulin, which stores blood sugar as fat, and God created us for that for a reason. We just don't live in an environment that needs it anymore. If you will binge, cheat, eat junk food within a 1 hour period, you will limit the damage to your body and you can get right back on the wagon. If you eat junk for 5 hours straight, if you graze, if you pick at food, you're going to have issues. You're going to have more cravings. You're going to wake up the next morning feeling like you're hungover, and you're going to feel so guilty that you're going to quit your diet and wait to start next Monday, or worse, the first of the next month.
Wow.
So tell me if that makes sense, because I know I share a lot of information, but I'm trying to do things that are approachable and that could make common sense.
I love that.
Totally makes sense to me. And I don't know if we can throw this in here right now, but I heard the term first in your circles, and I still don't get it. What is skinny fat?
This is a very pervasive issue. And my mom hopefully is not listening, Lance. I would consider her in this category. My mom weighs 110 pounds, has not exercised, and therefore has very little muscle tone. And she would be someone who, if she received a DEXA scan, which is the best way to measure body fat, she likely would have a high percentage of body fat, even though you would look at her and 100 out of 100 people would say she is skinny, because she doesn't have a lot of muscle, because she hasn't prioritized exercise, weight-bearing resistance exercise, which, by the way, could be long-distance walking. She would likely fall under the banner of skinny fat. Now, I just had this conversation with her last week, because now she has been diagnosed with osteoporosis, which is another symptom of low muscle mass and often occurs in people that are, quote, skinny fat. And so she is going to start exercising, and I believe she can reverse osteoporosis, but she is 74 years old, and it should have taken place years ago. Now, speaking of Jewish, my mom is a messianic dancer, and I'm sure all of you have seen or know people that do that. And she said, well, when I used to be the dance leader at the congregation, I exercised. And I said, Mom, yes, but that's not the same as resistance exercise per se. You got to walk. And Dr. Crandall said it great. Walk for an hour a day. I know that freaks people out, but so many benefits. You got to walk, and you've got to do something, even if it's knee bends from a chair, push-ups from a wall. There are so many ways to exercise without a gym, but you've got to do it. So back to your question. When we talk about fat, excess body fat, you could look skinny or thin and still have excess body fat. So I did want to answer that question, Lance. I want to give one last tip, and then we're going to get into some real strategies. How you eat a meal is super important. My recommendation at every meal, eat the protein first. That's meat, chicken, fish, eggs, sometimes dairy. Beans, nuts, and legumes and seeds have some protein, but not very high quality protein. But eat protein first. Here's why. Protein comes from the Latin term proteus, which means that which comes first or of primary importance. Every part of your body is made up of protein, from your immune cells to your bones, to your toes, to your nose, to your hair, to your nails, all made up of proteins. Some are muscle building proteins, and some are connective tissue proteins like collagen, which we're going to talk about. When you eat protein first, you become more satiated. Oftentimes there's healthy fats involved, and you will eat less of the carbohydrates at the end of the meal. Think of it this way. A restaurant gives you bread first because they know it will make you more likely to order dessert. This is not how people were supposed to eat. It's all planned. So you eat protein first, then eat your highest fiber items next, like vegetables, and then have something sweet if you want fruit, or starchy like grains or potatoes. I promise you, you will be more full. And here's how I can convince you. If I put a bag of chips or crackers or ice cream or cookies, whatever your treat du jour is, most people don't have an off button. I don't. I love ice cream. I love frozen things. I could eat a gallon of ice cream. Most of the time I make it myself and it's healthy, but I could still eat a gallon, and I'm not joking.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot binge on salmon and broccoli. Like, there's no world where I could overeat salmon and broccoli because my brain tells me not to eat anymore because I've had protein, fat, fiber, and I'm full.
Yeah.
Folks, the best part about this message is everybody listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I haven't said one thing that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
All of it is based on science. More importantly, it's based on history. And if you will use some of these strategies, you will cheat more effectively. You will eat more efficiently, and you will feel better in your body and your mind. And we also brought with us some tools that come from foods and ingredients that God created that can absolutely help you. Because the truth is, Lance and Mercedes, people do want a pill. They want an injection. They want a potion, and they want a lotion. And I always have a rule when I share about health and wellness. I need to give you multiple simple strategies that cost you nothing before I ever encourage you to buy something that I've created. And I've done nothing different here. But that being said, I believe that people need supplements. That means that word, in addition to, not instead of. A supplement comes along with a healthy diet and a lifestyle. So everything I said, please implement it. But I also brought you some powerful tools that can make your fat loss and perhaps your weight loss journey easier, faster, and more efficient.
Wow.
I love it. Now, I've said this in your presence, and when I describe you to other people, I say God gives gifts to men. And when I went and looked at your research, your laboratory environment, your land that you work with, I said, this is Edison's laboratory. This guy has a God-given gift for being able to see things that are there that other people miss because you've got that capacity, like Edison. And I want you to share right now, because I've got some of the new resources here. Talk to us about what you have as a supplement strategy.
Before I do, I have to say this, that those who are viewers and listeners and learners of the Lance Wallnau organizations, it's such a blessing for me to partner with someone and a mission that individuals can improve their life, and in this case, their health, while contributing to the greater good through Lance Wallnau Ministries. And so it's really important for me to say this. I don't have frequent opportunities to be on a platform where I can say that you are not only helping yourself and your family by purchasing a product that I've formulated or created, but you have an opportunity to bless people through the gospel, through the truth that is going on in today's amazing and interesting world. And this is one of those. It's this twofer opportunity. But I did bring some resources today that you probably saw on the screen if you were watching, and if you're listening, will allow you to purchase at a great discount. We created something that just launched weeks ago, and it's called Multi-Collagen Advanced Lean Formula. It helps you consume nutrients that will help you get leaner, get stronger, and feel incredible. That's right there on the screen if you're watching. I am reading it from the screen. What I love about this formula is it helps provide you with a protein you don't get in your diet. We used to get it. Grandma got it. Great-grandma got it from bone broth, chicken soup, eating the joints and ligaments of animals, chewing on the drumsticks. We don't anymore. We're a brothless generation, which is why we are deficient in collagen. So you're getting a protein that helps you build healthy hair, skin, and nails, joints, ligaments and tendons, and bones. How amazing is that? Wow. On top of it, this easy-to-use product has clinically studied ingredients that can help you burn calories, burn fat, lose weight, all with foods God created. There's no stimulants. There's no caffeine. And there's absolutely no injections or medications involved. We're talking about herbs and spices that have been used for thousands of years. One of them is actually called the tree of life in Africa. That's moringa. Moringa is a tree also called the drumstick tree. We grow them indoors in Tennessee, and the leaves of moringa help support the body's metabolism. There's also turmeric, which is the golden spice that we use in curry that is popular in India. And speaking of curry, there's a leaf that is called curry leaf. These 3 herbs and spice can help your body burn fat through a process called thermogenesis. That means heat generation. And in clinical studies, when you compare the use of those 3 herbs and spices with a normal group following a diet and exercise, they burned 6 times more calories when they consumed the superfoods, the herbs and spices. They lost more weight, and instead of having side effects, they had side benefits of a healthy inflammation response, healthy immune response. And best of all, these foods have been consumed for thousands of years. Lance mentioned earlier when he was talking about a pharmaceutical that we don't know the long-term effects of certain things we take and even certain new things we eat. When you consume something like collagen, which our grandparents consumed in soups and stocks, when you consume herbs and spices that people around the world have consumed for thousands of years, that's a track record of safety. And we created multi-collagen advanced lean in powder and capsules. The powder has a yummy cinnamon flavor. You can mix it in your coffee. You can mix it in yogurt. You can take it in a warm water drink. You can use milk or a milk substitute for kind of like a nightcap chai-esque beverage. The benefits of these products are amazing. In fact, Lance and Mercedes, I would recommend people have the multi-collagen advanced lean powder and capsules available because they are wonderful to use together and interchangeably. If you don't have a chance to mix the powder, you have the capsules. I think it's a great way to boost your metabolism, lose fat, burn calories, and have side benefits. The powder is easily mixed in your morning coffee or tea. The capsules, you take 3 a day, anytime. And within weeks, your body will become more efficient in fat burning, more efficient metabolically. And this is one of the most exciting formulas I have ever brought to market. I have created probably 1,000 products over the last quarter of a century. And this formula is so new, but it is one of the most successful we've ever introduced. And I have no doubt that the audience is going to love it. It's safe. It's clinically studied ingredients, support your body inside and out. There's even beauty benefits to the collagen. This product is almost too good to be true, but I assure you it is true.
My brother, for those that are listening to the podcast and you're saying, where is it? It's ancientnutrition.com, ancientnutrition.com. When you use the promo code LanceVIP, you'll save 20%. Just ancientnutrition.com, use the promo code Lance, LANCEVIP, and you get 20%. You're going to save off of that. And I am so glad that I now have this product in my hands because, you know, I'm taking the shakes, for instance, and I'm taking, when I'm here in the studio, my son puts the collagen into the coffee. We got that. But I was on the road and I didn't have any resource. So now I've got these. I've got them in my hand because my staff has them for me. I myself love this product. Mercedes?
I just had one clarifying question, Jordan. So are we taking these at the same time, or are we taking these like if I don't have the powder, I take the pill? I just wanted to get clear. Because can you have too much collagen?
It's a great question. We tell people that your collagen bank account is likely empty or you're bankrupt. And so Dr. Axe and I created programs, we call it collagen loading. And I think if you are able, taking 3 servings of multi-collagen, whether it's in capsules, powder, etc., is ideal initially. You're going to reload your collagen bank account. You're going to have that skin, hair, and nails benefit. By the way, one key ingredient in multi-collagen protein can help reduce post-exercise soreness by over 50% starting the first day, 24 hours. And I just mentioned you need to go exercise. You need to walk. You need to practice resistance training. And some of you say, well, I'm going to be sore the next day. You won't be as sore if you use multi-collagen advanced. But to be even more specific, Mercedes, I think everybody who's listening to my voice or watching me should consume the powder and the capsules of multi-collagen advanced lean for a period of time. And then eventually, if you choose, you could have one or the other. There's always a reason, in my opinion, to have both what we call form factors to ensure consistency.
Definitely.
The benefits are just so far reaching. And we are really excited that it's a new product. One thing that my team probably told you both is that we have barely been able to keep inventory in stock. I know this is going to sound like I'm an infomercial pitch man, but I promise you that based on the success of our previous podcast and the health summit we just did, someone's going to call tomorrow or the next day, or they're going to log on tomorrow or the next day, and they're going to wish they called earlier or logged on earlier. So go to the website. This has been one of the most successful product launches in 6 years that we've been a part of. And it's because the world needs it. And we know the world needs it. And there's so many benefits, not the least of which I forgot to mention. There is a key clinically studied ingredient in multi-collagen advanced lean that helps to balance hormones, thyroid, adrenal, even can help naturally boost testosterone in men and women. And that's important because we have less testosterone today than we did. That's an entirely different program we should discuss. Balancing hormones is critical as we age. And so we made sure that not only do we have clinically studied collagen for your joints, ligaments, tendons, skin, hair, and nails, not only herbs and spices to support fat loss and weight loss, we also have an Indian herb that helps to balance your hormones, reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone, increase DHEA, which is the youth hormone, all packed into one. I love these products. And once again, if you log on to ancientnutrition.com, use the code LanceVIP, you will also be benefiting Lance Wallnau Ministries, which is such an amazing blessing. Help yourself, help your family, and help spread the good news around the world.
Well, you know, you've been very kind, Jordan, because we stayed about 7 minutes longer than we thought we were going to, but I just couldn't pull out of this. It was so interesting. And for those of you that are watching this and listening to this right now, I want you to know we're going to be doing another interview with Jordan because there's a whole other area I want to talk about regarding glands and organs and what's missing in our bodies that nature, that God has provided through, I suppose, through glandular products that are as a whole other window that we couldn't go into now, but it's important that we go there. It's new research for me. But you go to ancientnutrition.com, use promo code LanceVIP, take action right now. You could join me in this journey because I'm telling you, I feel better every day, stronger every day, got greater clarity every day. And tell me I'm not looking better. Don't I look better? Don't you think I look better? I think the crow's feet are going away. Is it my imagination?
Yeah, no, sure.
Or is the collagen kicking in?
No, definitely, Lance.
I think
definitely.
I'm looking svelte, and I think I'm. Can crow's feet be removed with more collagen? Do you think?
Clinically studied crow's feet reduction in 28 days. You know, it's funny, when I first saw that benefit, I'm thinking, you know, this collagen helps everyone, including the birds, helps the crows with their foot health. But no, there are clinical studies on certain collagen ingredients that help reduce visible signs of wrinkles, fine lines. It's funny that I sound like I'm a skincare commercial.
I
but,
don't believe you.
I didn't even know what crow's feet was. I didn't even know what crow's feet was.
Jordan,
see what I mean?
I can't believe you have it all in your brain. I mean, like Lance is saying, you're like Edison. Like you just know this stuff.
When he said he has 1,000 products, I thought I didn't know that, but that makes sense because he's Edison.
I also want him to come back and we'll do an episode on Cereal Gate because I want to know what this cereal was that he said.
Oh my God.
You have to.
Cereal Gate.
The more you find out about the food pyramid that I grew up with in school,
I know.
they were killing us with the cheese and the eggs and the bread and make sure you get the pyramid. It's like,
so funny.
Kids, Dr. Rubin, I look forward to having you back again. Folks, do this now. AncientNutrition.com. Use code LanceVIP. You save 20%. And as the good doctor said, it goes to a worthy cause because we're taking on the world, the left, even the right these days. And we want you healthy to join us in the battle. God bless you. We're going to be back again tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel. See you then. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.